We're going to jump back into it with The Observer, and 'tis the season to draft unqualified people to do other people's jobs. What's going on, Cressida?
That's exactly right. Revealed the NHS are planning to draft thousands of volunteers as it faces winter crisis. Volunteers, fantastic. Health officials are drawing up plans to draft in thousands of extra volunteers to help the NHS cope with ambulance delays and hospital pressure this winter. And, of course, they're expecting it to be very high because nobody's turning on their heating. So this is not the time when we need problems in the NHS. But what I find really astonishing is that they're drafting in volunteers, which is extraordinary, isn't it? My mum used to volunteer in a RSPCA charity shop. I don't know if I'd wanted her and her colleagues delivering my healthcare. Yes. But that's what's going to be happening.
But they are, I mean, we have had volunteers obviously helping with the COVID vaccine rollout.
That's right, yeah.
Whatever. But yes, it is a sad state of affairs if we're dependent, Diane, on
exactly.
this.
Yeah, we don't want to be dependent. It's kind of weird because they spent 30, I believe it was, billion? Please don't tell me it's billion. Everything
it's
seems
just million.
to be
It's only
billion.
a million. It's only a million.
My goodness.
It's 30 million, mate. It's nothing.
I always get confused. Yeah. Oh, you could find that down the back of a sofa. So 30 million on St John's ambulance to try and get them to plug the hole. And it doesn't feel like they're getting at the root cause of it. And it's exactly what Cressida was saying. Like, there are people who can volunteer. Like, you know, hey, if you haven't got anything to do, you've got a couple of days spare, go volunteer at the NHS. But it doesn't...
We pay taxes.
Yeah.
We work.
Absolutely.
We pay taxes.
Yeah, we want to get a good healthcare system and we're paying into it. So why are we now asking people to do it for free when they're paying for it as well?
Yeah, I mean, look, St John's Ambulance is great, but this also seems like a slight step towards privatisation, bringing in outside services to do what really should be an internal thing here.
Definitely. And I mean, like... I see a lot of elderly people volunteering and I see a lot of elderly people in hospital, and I'm just worried that they are going to genuinely get confused. Like, some elderly people are going to turn up and they're not going to know whether they're supposed to be helping people or they're there for something.
And it gets worse than that, Diane. One of the jobs you can do is driving an ambulance.
Oh, my God.
I mean, that's potentially very exciting, isn't it? You could sell that as an experience package to a stag do, but, yeah, extraordinary.
It's look, it's looking like maybe the strike is going to be off. Maybe, that's what the Observer's saying. And that would have affected about 100,000 outpatient appointments, 15,000 operations. We're obviously already hugely backlogged, so that would have an even worse impact and push everything forward. So... whilst that's a good thing, the fact is there's 133,000 vacancies still within the NHS. So this problem, strike or not, is not going away, essentially.
No. And those vacancies, we need people to be trained to be in those vacancies. And just trying to plug the hole with a bunch of people who mean to do well is not going to help the system long term.
Yeah, and that's exactly what's being said. Miriam Deacon, Director of Policy at NHS Providers, has said exactly that. She said, although volunteers have always played a key part in the NHS, beyond core services, there is simply no substitute for a properly staffed workforce.
Yeah.
So essentially what we're saying here at GB News is don't get sick.